I think there's some nice news that happened to AIOZ not too long ago, and let me explain what it is. Because not too long ago, AIOZ 3, it was announced that they had integrated AIOZ storage to power its AI-powered intelligent advertising platform. Now, why do I think it's, pretty interesting? It's because allegedly AIOZ 3 AI is transforming Web3 advertising with cross-chain ecosystem growth, solutions blending on-chain and off-chain data, flexible pricing models, and data-driven optimization to scale user. So again, I think it is pretty awesome. I mean, there is other things they mentioned here, but generally the gist of it is that I just like this because when we think about AIOZ, of course we think about AI. So if anything is kind of fostering maybe the growth of it moving forward, I like it. Keep in mind, the AI market is predicted to reach nearly $2 trillion by 2030, according to Grandview Research. So it's not such a bad thing to be focused on. And of course, I get it, a lot of these AI projects are not doing the best as of right now, but I don't really mind because the way you take a look at it is, you know what? If let's say projects are kind of down, let's say the prices aren't doing the best, I'll just continue on anyways because if I liked it before, why wouldn't I like it if the price was hypothetically lower? That's just my point of view, even though I'm not telling anyone to do anything when it comes to AIOZ, but that is just my perspective. Not to mention, we have to take a look at when it comes to, again, AIOZ 3, it's not necessarily something I've heard of before. It's not necessarily, I think, the most popular thing out there either, at least the way I take a look at it. But then, at the same time, I think this is a good step moving forward because as AIOZ, let's say, hypothetically, has more news coming out like that, as let's say, in the future, more partnerships, or whatever the case may be, I just really like it in terms of kind of developing the fundamentals of AIOZ in terms of the perception. So again, I like seeing stuff like this. But let's not forget though, AIOZ isn't some sort of like one-trick pony that is only focused on AI, because I think there's other aspects too that we can focus on. Like for instance, the AIOZ network is a decentralized physical infrastructure network for Web3 AI storage and as well as streaming. Now again, I already talked about AI before, but let's talk about storage and streaming because storage, also streaming, it's sometimes not really talked about in the regard of AI, but let me explain why I'm still excited nonetheless. It's because, for instance, according to Fortune Business Insights, the data storage market, or should I say the global data storage market, is expected to be worth nearly $800 billion by 2030. So I think that's pretty massive. I mean, if let's say that ever even does happen, that's hypothetically bigger than some countries' GDP. So again, I do like that. Not to mention, according to Grandview Research, the video streaming market size by 2030 is expected to be worth over $400 billion. So, I mean, again, who knows if we'll ever reach that because that is just a projection, but I'm still very excited nonetheless. And I think AIOZ, again, despite, again, having AI in the name, I still think that, hey, you know what? It has other aspects too, and I like that when it comes to AIOZ. If we take a look at AIOZ's, historical partnerships, like, for instance, NVIDIA, Alibaba Cloud, Google for startups, and also Qualcomm. I mean, that is very impressive when it comes to AIOZ. So I wouldn't say that this is a project that I would overlook. Now, granted, AIOZ I don't think has the hype of like a Pepe or something like that, or like Shiba Inu, but then it doesn't really matter to me because even though I still believe in meme coins, even though I still believe in blockchain gaming projects and whatnot, I still also want to believe in these type of fundamentally amazing projects, in my opinion, that are more so utility driven. So again, I am a fan of AIOZ. But even besides all that, something that people kind of often overlook as well when it comes to AIOZ is that I think it is arguably somewhat focused on NFTs. Now, why could this be maybe a good thing? Because when I say that, some people may be thinking, oh man, NFTs, they're left behind in 2021 and all this. The hype is no more and all that type of stuff. And now I get it. The attention isn't what it used to be. And kind of just the overall sentiment when it comes to NFTs is different than back in 2021. But then I still like it nonetheless because, yet again, according to Grandview Research, because they like to predict things, by 2030, they predict that the NFT market could be worth over $200 billion. Again, that's just a hypothetical scenario in my opinion, but I still like it. But let's say AIOZ were to go to the price of $5, hypothetically speaking. At that point, market cap would be around $6 billion, and that's around a 15x from here. Now, some people may be thinking, okay, around a 15x, what is this? But the way I take a look at it is this. Even though nothing I say is financial advice, what could Bitcoin realistically do in the next 6 to 10 months? Now, I have no idea to tell the future. Like, I don't know what's going to happen moving forward. But then some people out there are saying, oh, around 300 grand when it comes to Bitcoin. Okay, let's say maybe Bitcoin does that. Who knows? But that's slightly less than a 3x from here. Again, even if AIOZ were just to go to the price of $2.50, that's already well beyond a 3x. So again, I mean, AIOZ or Bitcoin? Now, I am not choosing on anyone's behalf. I'm only saying on my behalf. But if someone came up with that decision for me, it's going to have to be AIOZ. You know, if I got into Bitcoin years ago, that's a totally different case. But right now with Bitcoin, you know, I get it, slight pullback and all this, but then relatively speaking, it's done very well, especially as of late. I mean, it doesn't really make sense to me. This is just my point of view, but again, all I can do right now is stay patient, hold, and I just wait because literally beyond that, I mean, whatever happens to AIOZ, the markets, that is beyond my control. I can just only focus on myself and just hold and I just wait, and hopefully there is a moment if, let's say, maybe hypothetically the markets do decide to wake up. That way I am hypothetically prepared for that because I was holding the entire time anyways. And again, whenever that does decide to happen, it is beyond my control. But I can take a look back in history and see how usually altcoins, as a worst case scenario, typically peak around a year and a half after a Bitcoin halving event. So if we consider how the last Bitcoin halving event happened in April of last year, we add a year and a half on top of that around October this year. Again, but that's based off history. That's not necessarily, you know, maybe gonna be the case this time around. Who knows? But at least it kind of gives me a good, I would say, idea maybe. But even despite all that, whenever that does decide to happen, I'm gonna be holding and just waiting because if AIOZ kind of did that back then, I mean, imagine if there was like, let's say, hypothetically, fully fledged type of hypothetical altcoin season. You know, this is just a way to take a look at it. So I'm still very excited when it comes to AIOZ. I'm still holding, and I don't want to give up on it. And feel free to subscribe if you enjoyed this video. I would greatly appreciate it. It's only the Captain, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. I'm out. Peace. Bye.